This is a story called For the Sake and the Love of a Child. Two young women are working as singers, and one night during a severe storm they came across a bunch of kids dressed in barely nothing. The kids were soaking wet. The two women took the kids back to their hotel room. When they got there, they contacted room service and asked them to bring 20 towels, 20 sandwiches and 20 drinks. When room service arrived, they couldn't understand why Joanna and Lisa had ordered so much food and drink, or why they'd asked for so many towels, so she asked them, why so many towels and why so much food and drink? Then the kids came out of their hiding place and started running around and giggling. What's all this? Asked a staff member, laughing at the kids. Well, we found them out in the street in the storm, and we just couldn't leave them out there, said Joanna. No, I totally agree with you. I'm actually the manager of this hotel, and I will see that you get everything you need. You do know that they can't stay here long term, asked Alison, the manager. Yes, we know, said Joanna. The following day, Lisa and Joanna took the kids around every orphanage in the town to see if anyone would take them in, but no one had any room. They tried outside of town, and thankfully they found an orphanage that had room for all 18 children. Joanna and Lisa couldn't believe their luck. They kept checking on the kids as often as they could during their time in China. However, after a few months, Joanna and Lisa had to return home to the UK. They decided that the money they had earned from their singing was going to go towards a building for them to use as a children's home. They found a huge empty building and bought it, and then they got permission to turn it into a children's home for kids who have been abused, neglected or abandoned. The work went ahead and the home opened on the 25th of June 1972. Within a week, 10 children arrived, 2 from the same family and others from individual families. The 2 from the same family were girls, Hannah and Louise, who had been severely neglected and abused. On arrival at the home, the girls had to be bathed. They were only 3 years old, so they couldn't do it themselves. They also needed potty training because they were still in nappies. None of them could talk in full sentences, and they ate nothing but baby food, and they drank from baby bottles. The other kids were older, but they too had also been neglected and abused, but none of them had been as neglected as the twins were. The twins began to talk, and they came on in leaps and bounds. After they'd been at the home for a few months, the twins were adopted. The other children were there a bit longer, but they were also adopted eventually. However, after the home had been open for about 20 years, there were 3 kids from different families who came in. One little girl, Elizabeth, who had been physically and sexually abused by her stepdad, but her mum didn't believe her. She had continued to allow her husband to live with them. After Elizabeth had been at the home for a few months, her biological dad came over from Australia. He had no idea about what had happened to her because her mum cut off all contact with him. He asked Elizabeth, would you like to come and live with me and my new wife, Leah, in Australia? You have a brother and sister who are younger than you, and you have 2 stepsisters, Mary and Laura. Mary is 8, the same age as you, and Laura is 10. Yes, I'd like that, answered Elizabeth. A few days later, Elizabeth went home to Australia with her dad, and she kept in touch with the staff at her home. The other 2 kids that had come into the home on the same day as Elizabeth were Michael and George. George's mum used to beat him and stuck lit cigarettes out on him. That only happened when she was high on drugs. About 6 months after 6-year-old George came to live at the home, his mum had got herself off the drugs and had turned her life around by getting a job. Little George was allowed to go back to live with her. However, 6 weeks later, the staff at the home received the news that little George had been beaten to death by his mum and her new boyfriend. As you can imagine, they were all devastated. Michael had been physically abused by his parents. He phoned for help one day after being badly beaten by his dad. It turned out that he had been tied to his bedpost and beaten several times. His parents had taken photos of him after each beating, which showed the marks on his body. About a week after Michael came into the home, his parents came and demanded that they be allowed to take him home. Of course, the staff refused to let them take him because he was now a ward of the court. The following day, after the unpleasant visit from his parents, Michael was playing with some toy soldiers when he took the baby from the doll's house and took it outside to bury it. Joanna asked him, "Michael, why are you burying the baby like that, sweetheart?" "The baby needs to be buried so no one can see it," answered Michael. "Does the baby have a name, Michael?" Joanna asked him. "Yes, the baby's name is Michael," answered Michael. Joanna contacted the police officers who were dealing with Michael's case, and they went to Michael's parents' house. When they got there, they saw what looked like a grave. When they dug it up, they found one of Michael's shoes, and one of them said, "Oh my God, what the hell were they doing to him?" Michael's parents were arrested and sent to jail. Michael did really well at the home. He was good friends with little George until he died, and Michael was devastated when that happened. Michael lived at the home for almost a year and then he was adopted. He was very happy living with his new family, and he was getting the kind of love, etc. that he should have been getting from his birth parents. He went back to the home to visit the staff a few times. When he left school, he became a social worker and he was given a full-time position at the home. Now, 10 years after he became a fully qualified social worker, Michael is still working at the home. He now has 3 children, George age 6, Alyssa age 4, Ivy age 2, and a baby on the way. The end. Thank you.